Hello everybody, it's Pedro. So in today's video I'd like to talk about something that is very common in our line of work, which is visual effects of course, which is what to do when you are faced with adversity in your career. And this is very prominent, as I said before, for all the reasons that we all know about like the VFX industry, but it doesn't stop in the VFX industry. This happens to everybody in every sort of career really. And it's actually very prominent in, for example, sports, right? And there's a lot of lessons that we can take and extract and learn from, those individuals in different careers, in different worlds, right? And of course, this is like a very difficult situation for the majority of the people because, of course, when you're faced with adversity, it's a difficult situation that, limits your professional development. You get confused. And of course, it creates, obstacles and challenges that will slow you down. And as I said, it puts like a question mark in your progress and professional growth, right? On top of that, and through that process, of course, it creates things like stress, frustration, self-doubt, and eventually will affect your motivation and performance and how happy you feel about like all the things that you've been doing for, the past few years until you encounter adversity. But the reality of the situation is that adversity will always be a thing at some point, right? The same happens, with your life. I'm pretty sure that you had moments in which everything was fine until something happened. It doesn't need to be like super, bad or super, serious, but it can be serious as well. But when something like that happened, it created a problem, and you had to solve that problem, and life continued after that. And you know for sure that there will be other moments in your life in which the same will happen, and you learned with those things, like in terms of like how you reacted on last time, and whether you like the process or not, whether you had like a really hard time overcoming that situation. There were certainly a lot of things that you learned with it, and you know that you need to face the problem and overcome the situation as you did in the past. It's as simple as that, right? But when it comes to professional life, a lot of these times, this touches like a specific part of our ego, which it's when you start doubting about yourself, right? Because of a lot of things, you start questioning, how, what are you doing? What are you doing to your life, to your family life, etc., etc., right? Because it's something that our jobs are very important to us, whether you like to admit or not, because that's basically what you put more effort in terms of like, I'm not saying necessarily speaking for everybody that love their job. We want to believe that in our line of work we all love our jobs, right? But the reality is, whether you like it or you love it or not, you have a job to do, and this is basically where you spend most of your time during your day, right? 8 hours, 12 hours, you name it. It all depends on the job. But our job in visual effects, independently of what the discipline is all about, must be even more prominent when it comes to compositing, because it's the end of the assembly line. It's hard sometimes. It doesn't need to be that hard. So a lot of this stuff, as I said before in many other videos like this, it's self-inflicted, but without a doubt that it's where you spend most of your day. So of course that has an impact, right? So what most people do when they encounter adversity, first of all, they get confused, and because of that confusion in their mind, they lack clarity, which is of course the opposite of confusion. And because of that, they start to freeze. They don't know exactly what to do to get themselves out of that situation, and they start looking for alternative plans. Okay, if this doesn't work, I have plan B. And then I also have a plan C. And I also have a plan D. And they go until the end of alphabet until they reach the Z. And maybe they will, just make up like other letters, or enumerations to start like other plans, right? But the reality is this, guys. There will always be adversity at some point, no matter of what you choose. So whether you have like a plan B or plan C or plan Z, there will always be something that will happen at some point. And the answer to that kind of stuff is not, okay, I'm going to go to the next thing. Because if you always have this in your mind, you will never accomplish anything, because you will always face this situation at some point, right? So the plan, or the answer rather, it's definitely not to, okay, I'll make up like a different plan. No, that's not, that's that's not an answer, right? So what are you going to do next time this happens? Think about that, right? So as I said in the beginning of the video, we can take like a lot of lessons from other worlds, professional worlds, right? And the world of sports, for example, I think it's a very good example. And a lot of times I myself, I think about that kind of stuff a lot, and I tend naturally to go to the world of sports to compare how different people from different worlds, react to things like this, which has a lot to do with the mental models that they use, right? So think about like any pro athlete or any person that you look up to. But I think the world of sports, once again, I think can teach us like a lot of valuable lessons. So think about like any pro athlete, okay? And ask yourself this question. Do you think this person that you have in your mind right now acted or acts like that, like going from alternative plan to alternative plan every time that they had a poor performance in their past or in the present, when they faced adversity, when, something went wrong with him or her? No, right? And probably, if that would be the case, the person that you have in your mind would never even be an example, because you would know about him or about her, right? Because this person basically went up like doing something else. So it's this constant battle of facing adversity, in the eye and work towards it and come out of on the other side stronger than ever, right? And keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. That will actually make people successful. Because if that wasn't the case, these people would be probably doing something else, right? So think about again any pro athlete that you can think in your life, read about them, or probably already know about these stories about each one of these people or the one that you have in your mind, and you'll see that this is to be true. And again, even if you don't read about them, do you really think about this, do you really think that you would know this person if this person, when faced adversity, would have like a plan B that he or she would fall back to, or would decide to go to like a different path in their career? If that would be the case, you probably would know this person in the way or in the world that you know him or her for, right? There will be probably some like a normal person, like a regular day-to-day person. There will not be an example as a pro athlete, for example. You know what I mean? Most likely. So, it's important to have this in mind, because a lot of times we think that this only is happening to us. Other people, they work in different things. They don't have the same problems that I have. They don't face the same sort of like adversity that I feel, whatever, right? And it's never true, because everybody in every type of world, they eventually face this sort of adversity, because you as a person as well, you also have that example, right? So the way to solve this is, first of all, avoid blaming others or external factors or circumstances for the adversity that you are facing. Even if there's a little bit of that, try to avoid that, because that will detract you from the thing that you need to do, right? So the thing to do is to accept the situation, okay? Because that's crucial to move forward. Otherwise, you are always looking to, deflecting something that, that is possibly something that you can solve, right? And denial about the situation will only prolong the situation, prolong the problem, right? So you need to objectively evaluate the situation to identify if there's any underlying causes. And after that, you probably will see what will be the solutions for those problems, right? But don't deflect things, necessarily speaking. I'm not saying that blame it all on you, but certainly there will always be something that you could do or that you could have done in the past that would, if that was the case in the past, that would prevent you potentially from facing the adversity that you're feeling now. And even if that's not the case, there's always something that you can do when you are facing adversity that is new to you, okay? So a great source of help also for that kind of stuff is to seek support. I mean, everybody does that. These pro athletes, these all people that I'm talking about, do you think they're alone? You know that they're not alone. All successful people, they are not alone. They have like a very strong, it doesn't need to be big, but they have like a very strong, it can be very small actually, most of the times are small, group of people that they rely on to work on their mindset, to work on their skills, to push them, like take them out of that, bad mindset that they might face, like on a given time whenever they lose a match, for example. The world of sports, as I said before, can teach us like a lot of lessons, in that regards when it comes to mindset, because that's what they do. They are competing with each other. They want to win, and everybody that they're competing with want to win as well. So there's always this imbalance, and there's always this constant push and pull, depending on which side you are, right? So this is their life, and of course they face adversity every time there's a match, because they can lose. Probably some of the matches they lose, and of course they feel down. They feel like very, very hard on themselves, right? And that's why psychology in sport is so important. But the way that they do it is they have a very strong team. Doesn't need to be big. Most of the time it's very small, by the way. They are fueling their dream. They're fueling their results. They're fueling the overcome of those obstacles. They believe in these people. They believe they're the ones that are always there for the athlete to believe that it's possible to overcome the problem, right? And next match comes and they're stronger than ever, right? So if you don't have these things, and if you don't have this awareness, most importantly, you cannot develop any strategic plan of action, right? Because you are basically deflecting. There's nothing you can do. It's all a product of external situations. I'm the best at what I do. There's nothing more I could have done. There's nothing more that I can do right now. And so, that will not take you anywhere. You know what I mean? Independently of what you end up choosing, there will always be moments like this, as I said before. So the answer to these kind of situations, it's not deflecting, because, if you do that, you will never solve anything, right? And again, if you are having trouble, picturing this in your mind, just look at adversity that you felt at some point in your personal life. I'm pretty sure that everybody, in one way or another, faced that, and you solved it, right? So adversity doesn't feel good, obviously, but if you have the right mindset about how you overcome adversity and how you look at adversity, it can serve as sort of like a catalyst for personal growth that will lead to professional growth as well, as long as you seek the support, as long as you keep pushing. That will build up your resilience and adaptability, as hard as it may seem on a given time, on the type of the adversity that you might be feeling at the given time. But this is the way to go, and you know that this is the way to go, right? Because otherwise you're gonna die, like in this sea of negativity and all that kind of stuff that is surrounding your mind, and potentially the people that you are surrounding yourself with, right? It's when you overcome these challenges and you are able, and you have the awareness that you are able to overcome these challenges, that you start building like this resilience and this character that will stay with you, and that will equip you for next time that it comes. You will be able to identify certain things because you've been there before, so you will avoid, because you can see that down the line. You are not just reacting. You are developing and putting in practice a more proactive kind of mentality, right? And this is how your success will basically come to you, right? Bit by bit, right? So it's when you learn on how to deal with these things that definitely you will be able to navigate through future obstacles more effectively. You know what I mean? And when you do that, especially for those of you that want to achieve higher roles in your careers, that kind of process will also be the type of stuff that people will get inspired by. You know what I mean? You don't even need to tell them. It's just the way that you carry yourself. It's just like the way that you talk with them. It's just the examples that you are able to give them. If they are not the ones that are looking up to you, they're not the ones like facing adversity for whatever reason. So the way that you are able to talk with them, they will get inspired by that. But you can never be that person if you don't know how to face adversity, if you don't get yourself out of that situation, if you're always blaming on others, if you're always deflecting things that are probably certain things. I'm not saying all of them, but certain things that you can solve on your own, that you should solve on your own to take yourself out of that situation, right? So if you don't do it yourself, how do you think others will look at you? It's not gonna be very easy on you if you want to, for example, be in leadership role, right? So when you demonstrate this sort of resilience and what to do when you face adversity, of course, you will project like an image of like determination, strength, and your peers and the people, if you are on a leadership position or if you want to be in that kind of position, the people that you are managing will look at you naturally in that way, and everybody wins. They win because you are able to say the right thing at the right time, so they snap out of that negativity in their minds. And that kind of interaction is sort of like the feedback that will fuel how you feel as a leader as well. You know what I mean? So it's not about bullshit, okay? It's about like really putting in the work to really, have something to say to these people because you face the same. So now it's up to you to tell them like what you did and saying the right thing at the right time. You don't need to give them examples, by the way. It's just the way that you say certain things. It's implicit that you know what you're talking about, and it's a very natural and human response. You know what I mean? That people will get through that kind of stuff. So, look, adversity is part of life. That's basically the conclusion of what I'm trying to say. It's what you do through adversity that will dictate what's going to happen after, because adversity will always come and go, always. A lot of people, what they think is, if they are like on a winning strike, they think that it will last forever. It will not last forever. Nothing lasts forever. You know what I mean? So it's very, very important to have this awareness that adversity, it's tough. It can be very heavy on your mental health sometimes. I get that. But the response is not to deflect, is not to die with it. It's quite the opposite. If you're having trouble getting that kind of stuff, seek support. That's what we do, for example, at Lair. We work with very experienced people that, independent of their experience, they don't need to feel adversity necessarily speaking. Some of them do, some of them don't. But, what they feel is that they can do a better job at what they do because they have like higher aspirations. They want to get there. They don't want to make the same mistakes. They've been trying to solve these type of situations for themselves. They want to achieve leadership roles. They are already in leadership roles, a lot of them as well, but they know that they want to get better at that kind of stuff. So this is the type of people that we work with. And, just as a conclusion, if you want to also solve these type of problems and many others, if you want to work on your skills, if you have a compositing background, to attain and sustain leadership roles, just read the results that other people that worked with us had. Just click on the description below, read their testimonials, the results. And if you want to know more about like our process and the people that we work with and basically the way to get there, there's the first link on the description that will basically give you the roadmap to get to these leadership roles. And at the end of that video, you will be able to book a call with us, and you're going to get on a call with my team, and through that kind of conversation, we'll see whether or not we can help you. So you think that's something that you'd like to do, just click on the link and just follow that journey. But independently of that, I hope that this video helped you a little bit regarding that kind of mindset shift that you need to have when you face adversity, because if you don't do it, nobody will do it for you. You can seek the help, and you should seek the help, but you will always be someone that is part of this equation, so you need to do your bit. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I hope you liked it, guys, and I wish you all the best, and see you very soon. Okay, bye bye.